Hi y'all, this is So Blessed. Welcome to the Blessed Place. How y'all doing? It is our 8th wedding anniversary and we're on vacation and we're going to answer some of your relationship questions. So, let's get right to it.
Yes, please.
Is it possible for a relationship to work long distance? If so, how and what do you suggest to make it work?
Well, it depends on where you're heading to this relationship. You don't want to be separated from your fiance, your wife, your husband. You 4 and 5 hours away from them and talking about marriage. You need to really be careful about that right there. You know, you're supposed to be one. You're supposed to be together. You're not girlfriend, boyfriend. So everything should be leading to coming together as one under one roof.
So, what about if you're dating? You're dating, um, you're in a relationship, you're dating, you're not married yet. So, can a long distance relationship work when
Of,
you're dating?
of course, I just got to say that. With everybody planning to come together. You know, who want a wife who's 5 and 6 hours away, only see her on the weekends or see her once a month. Nobody wants that. I don't believe nobody wants that. That means you want a boyfriend or a girlfriend.
Well, how did we make it work? We were separated for a long time, and then when we got married, we lived apart.
Yeah, but
How long would you say we lived apart?
maybe 3-4 months.
So, about the first 3-4 months, we lived apart.
Yeah, but the plan was to come together.
Right. So they're asking, how do you make it work? How did we make it work when we lived apart?
Sacrifice. We stayed in contact with one another. We seen each other every week. Didn't matter if it was for a day or whatever, a couple of hours.
Okay. And my opinion on that is that you can make long distance work, but relationships themselves are already difficult. Can be difficult. They don't have to be, but relationships can be difficult. And then when you add the pressure of separation, that can be very difficult. But if you are determined to make it work and you both trust, that's the main thing. You must have trust. So if you have trust and communication, those are the two things, because long distance won't work without trust and communication. So if you already don't trust your mate, being apart will not work. Zero. But if you have trust in them and that person is willing to communicate with you, far as emails, Skyping, phone calls, text, if you keep all those lines of communication, it could work for a while. But you talk about 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 year long distance relationships. I'm not going to say it doesn't work, because I've watched several couples on YouTube, and some of them said that they had long separations and they're married and seem to be happy. So it's not impossible, but highly unlikely for long periods of time. Okay, the next question is, name 3 things that are most important to a man in a relationship he looks for in a mate. So that's for you. 3 things a man look for in a woman or in a relationship.
Sex. Well, if we do that, got to be honest about this thing.
Be honest.
Trust. Because every man wants a woman that he can trust. Nobody wants to be played a fool. I don't care, vice versa. But if a man can't trust the lady, why have her? If I got to always check up behind her, I don't believe her, you're fooling yourself. If you can't trust her, you don't need her. Sex, trust, and always communication. And you can basically say trust and communication runs hand in hand. And I have to say this right here, since trust and communication run hand in hand, respect. Any man want to be honored. Any man wanted to feel as if though that he's the man by his wife, girlfriend, in a relationship. A man want to be honored. So I would say that.
Okay. Can you elaborate a little bit on how does a woman show respect and honor to a man? Because I think a lot of women hear that men like to be respected, they like to be honored, but a lot of times women didn't grow up in household where they learn that. So a lot of times they might not even know what that means to show honor and respect to a man. So how does a woman show honor and respect?
Well, it all depends on the man, but also depends on the lady. She has to use wisdom with that. You know, just she can do little things like, say for instance, when he's out and about or in the house where she fixes table, she fixes his plate and have it ready. You know, hey, this is my husband. Hey, I fix his plate. Little stuff like that. Little stuff like also I would say. Letting the world know that, hey, guess what? This is my husband who I'm well pleased with. And like I said, not always. If he says something in public or whatever, you don't have to correct him all the time if he's wrong. Wait till you get to the house. Never disagreeing with him in public. Where you want to have that communication where you're saying, well, hey, okay, if he feel like this right here in public or whatever, or says something around a family member that you disagree with, you don't have to blow up. All right, when we get one-on-one, I explain myself to him the more. Not always want to correct him in public, because most men, they do not like being corrected in public once they make a statement or once something comes out of their mouth.
Yeah. I think going back to trust. When you were talking about trust, I'd already thought about want to make a video on a woman showing forth trust, in the relationship, and how a lot of times we think men don't talk, but they do talk, but they gotta trust you in order to talk. How do you keep from catching feelings too soon? So like if you're a woman and you dating a guy, and you know how some women, the first day, the first week, they trying to plan the marriage, the wedding, and they're falling all in love, and he just kicking it, whatever. Well, I'm just adding to your question, but I'm just further elaborating what I think you mean. You know what I'm saying? So how does a woman meet a guy, but how does she keep from catching feelings too quickly?
Understanding this is a relationship just starting out, so you shouldn't have when you meet a guy, don't meet him with anticipating that this is my husband. Every guy you meet, that, okay, is this the one? Is this the one? It's fine to have friends. It's fine to go out on date, dinner, a movie, walks in the park, to get to know that individual without wanting to exhale every time you meet a guy.
When you exhale.
Yeah.
I met my husband. I can exhale.
Looking forward to exhaling. That's craziness to me. Where you want to put that demand on him, but also on you. You need to look at it as, well, hey, let me get to know this individual. Where there's no expectation of husbands, boyfriend, because he just might be a friend. He might just, that broken, like the song said, that broken road may lead to somebody else. But the thing about it is, do not have the expectation of, is he my husband? Why would you think that off the bat? I never did get that. And I think a lot of women's mistake guys as far as men, as far as a smile, a date, take you out, compliment, as if, oh, he's special. No, he's not special. He just complimenting you. He just took you out on a date, or he just bought you dinner or whatever. That means nothing.
That's his reasonable service.
That's his reasonable service. We like you, just checking you out.
Exactly.
Being nice to you.
Exactly. Like when we were in the club and you came over and walked over to me and offered to buy me a drink, bought me a drink, and we're talking about 26 years ago, and asked for a dance. I did not look at you as my husband.
I don't know why.
It was 20. It was 20 years later when I even thought of you as my husband.
I don't know why she didn't look at me as a husband. As good as I was looking, smelling that night. Shoot. The rest of them look at it like that.
Yeah, that's why you with me and not the rest of them. Because the rest of them looked at you like they thought you were their husband.
Her a drink and her friends some drinks.
Yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, but the rest of them thought that you were their husband, and that's why you with me now. Because they misread the situation. Okay.
I know I have a shave and all that. I'm on vacation.
I told you you're on vacation, baby. Don't shave. I want you looking rough and rugged and thuggish.
Come on, here, woman.
Okay. Um, how do you get close to a person you're dating without sex before marriage? That's a good one.
So she really asking, how do you make love without taking off your clothes?
All right.
So
All right now.
I'm telling you, ladies, if a man cannot make love without taking off his clothes, you don't need him. Especially at a certain age of 25 on up. Most men need to start learning how to make love without taking off your clothes. And most women need to know how to make love without taking off their clothes. Because it's a process now. And this process, I'm telling you, it doesn't happen overnight. You learn because you want someone to be able to be emotional attached to you. You want somebody to be able to make love to you when there's nobody else around, when you hurt, when you in pain, when something goes wrong, that he can lay his hands on you, or he can touch you, or he can say the right words and mean them and uphold those words, and you can rest and assure that he's not going to let you fall, because that's making love without taking off your clothes. And it's more to that right there. As a matter of fact, this video wouldn't do justice, because all these are short answer questions. But I really would like to talk more about making love without taking off your clothes.
Ooh, we'll make a video of that and make that the title. Making love without taking off your clothes. So yeah, we'll further elaborate on that, because that's a good one right there. But also too, to more directly give you my assessment of how you date without getting into sex, is that you cannot put yourself in a situation where you know yourself and you know what can happen. You know what your body responds to, and you know what your emotions respond to. So you know that if he touches you in a certain place, you know that you already gone. You know that if you stay at his house too long, then you know what's gonna happen. You know if you start petting each other and having foreplay and all that, you know that you're gone. So you have to know your limits. You have to know, can I sit here with him and just hold hands? Yes, I can sit and hold hands and without it going further. Or can I kiss him without it going further? Yes, I can. Or no, I can't. I know I can't. So you have to put in a lot of communication. Like I say, these days you've got so much technology where you can do Skype, you can do FaceTime on your phone, you can text, and you can tweet, and you can Facebook, and you can Skype each other. There's so much communication that can be done without being physically next to each other. But you also need to have the ability to be next to each other physically too, because you got to show you got to be able to show some restraint. Yeah, you gotta have some kind of restraint and control, because I feel like once you move into a deeper relationship or to a marriage, you got to be able to show restraint. And if you with a man who didn't show any restraint while you were dating, then you moving into a marriage with a man who don't know how to show restraint.
Like I did this morning, I showed restraint by making this video right here. I wanted to make love to my wife, but I said, Lord, let me just go ahead and do this video, get it out the way.
This is the last one. This is my friend here. This is my brother in Christ. I love him. This is okay. I think you guys are great. Here are a few questions. Have you guys ever had problems being a blended family? That's a good one for us. I.e. the differences in discipline, family philosophy, etc. And there's just one question. The other question was, and when is So Married going to write that book? When we gonna write our So Married book? But anyway, first let's address blended family. What's your thought on blended families? And we did have a blended family. He has my daughter was 16 when we got married, and his son at the time I think was 14. And his son, who's our son now, Charles, moved in with us when he was 16. I think 16. So we've had the experience of the blended family. Now when we first married, we just had the one child in the house with us, and that was my daughter. So how do you think that? What's your thoughts on blended family?
It works, but with blended family, the key thing to that right there is the father and the mother being on the same side, not letting them separate you, because they will, because they feel as though that hey, you're taking away from me. You know, we had all different type of situation that came up with blended family, but we handle them. You have to be able to handle them and handle them immediately, because you have to set a present there where hey, we're husband and we're wife, we're one, you know, and that's how the Lord look at it, as we're one, and that and show them the benefit in being us being one, not us against them, or they against us. Even little super stuff with Derica, our daughter, where she used to come knock on the door real heavy, bam, 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 bam. And my wife had to tell her, hey, you got one more time, knock on that door heavy. Do not knock on that door heavy. To start showing a level of respect. But also, she was reaching out to us where she felt as though that y'all shut the door all the time now. I'm not used to my mama shutting the door in her room. But she had to understand, well, hey, we're dad and mom, you know. But also, we bend it. We stopped shutting her out, because she feels that we were shutting out by shutting the door. And so, you know, we'll leave the door a little open a little more. And then with my son coming into the picture, and he's coming from his mom and her husband, that was a totally different thing there too, you know, because here it is, I had a son coming to the picture, but I also understand man. I understand being a boy, because I'm an architect. I'm an architect. I'm a builder of men. And when my son came to the picture, he came from gang activity, got suspended from school, and we brought him into our house. And the first thing I did to him, let him know right off the point, look here, I'm the man of this house, and what I said goes. And my wife, you may be able to get away with something from me, but my wife, I would not tolerate anything out of your mouth, any disrespect or whatever. And that was a process there, where every day I used to come in the morning time before I go to work, early in the morning, 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, wake him up, got me some oil and anointed his head in the name of Jesus, asking him to behave himself, Father. In the blood of Jesus, I'm praying over him. And he was getting mad, but I didn't care. He was in my house. Because for me and my house, we're going to serve the Lord. And that's the one thing he had to see, was that, hey, not only I was a God-fearing individual, but I was a Christian, and I'm a man, and this is the ways of the Lord. And when he left, when he graduated high school, our son graduated high school with a 4.0. I mean 4.0. Had scholarships, could have did what he wanted to do, football scholarship, academic scholarship. But the thing about, a whole lot of stuff transpired between then and now. He's in school now, still in college. But the thing about it, the most is when you have a blended family, you have to stick together. Mm-hmm. You know, you can't let them separate you.
And
go ahead.
Just to go back to something you said that really resonated, is when you have to show your kids the benefit of a blended family. Because first, all they see is that it's negative. You taking my mom away, or you taking my father away. You just a mom. They think you're taking my mom away. But when they see the benefits, so when, like with Derica, at first she saw it as, even though she liked Charles because she knew Charles before we even got married, so but she saw it as a negative that he was taking her mom away, because it had just been just me and Derica for years and years, 16 years of her life. It was just me and her. I mean, of course I spoiled her. She slept in my room. We did everything together. And when I told her that she would just, when we got married, she would just bust into the bedroom. And I told her, Dirk, you have to start knocking. You have to knock before you come into our bedroom. So that's when she started banging on the door like, you want me to knock? Okay, I'll knock. Boom, 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 boom. And I tell you, you got one more time to bam on my door like that. But then later on, we come to find out that she felt closed off. Mama, why you're always closing the bedroom door? And we talked about it, and we thought about, that's true. Because even if we weren't being intimate, we still closed the door. Just to talk, whatever. So then we said, you know what, she's right. Let's leave the door open. Because she would be out like in the den watching TV or on the computer. And we started leaving the door open more often. We said, only if we're being intimate, we'll close the door. So we started, so that, you also have to listen to your children and understand where they're coming from too. You know, can't just be all, this is the way it is, and this is what I say, and I got a new man in my life, and this is the way it's going to be. You got to also listen to your children's concern, because their lives is, are also totally changing. But also too, with Derica, she started learning the benefits. Me raising her as a single mom and having a hard time raising her as a single mom. Well, I would say a hard time, but it's just harder to raise a child by yourself. I don't care how much money you make or how things are going. It's still harder to raise a child just by yourself. So when Charles came into the picture, there were starting to be benefits. Mom couldn't be in two places at one time, but me and you, we were a team. So now she's heavily into basketball. I can take her, you pick her up. You do this. He probably won't admit to this. He'll wash her hair. Because, of course, I told you I spoiled her, so I washed her hair since she was about 20. But he would wash her hair. And
probably admitted to that. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I wash hair when I was growing up. Godmother, sisters.
You wash your mom hair? You wash your sister?
No, I wash my mom hair.
Oh,
Mom
okay.
was really powerful.
Oh, okay. But anyway, he would wash her hair. And, just the way we parented together.
You got to parent together, even, and like I said, you have to, especially dealing with boys, because you can't let them control you. You have to control them, and you have to let them know and speak into their lives. Like, classic example one time was, like, my son never had a problem with education. He would bring home his report card, right? Huh, Dad, give me my report card. He showed it to Deidre. All A's, I get the report card. I ball up, throw it in the garbage can. I'm not concerned about no report card.
I thought that was so mean.
I'm concerned about your attitude, what you're doing at school, how you conducting yourself. Are you gang affiliated? Are you smoking marijuana? That's what I'm concerned about. Are you being respectful to the teachers and the student? That's what I'm concerned about. See, she may think it's so mean, right? But it wasn't mean. It was speaking into his life, speaking the language that
he understood.
That he understood, because for the mere fact of the matter is that education wasn't his problem. Schoolwork was not his problem. He come home from school and do nothing. Don't even bring a book home, and take college preparatory classes, but and make it A's. But the thing about it was his attitude, what he was doing in school, how he was conducting himself. Now I would go out to that schoolhouse every week, sometimes twice a week, and knock on that door. Hey, I got my eye on you. Everybody knew me at school, from the principal on down.
So that's another thing, being very involved in your.
You have to be.
Even in your step kids' life. We don't like to use the word step because they're your kids now. Mm-hmm. But being involved in your kids' lives, whether they're your biological kids or you married into the blended family, but being involved, not just saying, well, those are your children and these are my children.
It's not gonna work like that.
Right, but no, you got to be totally involved in their lives, whether you physically had them or you inherited, or whether they're your bonus kid, like Jada Pinkett likes to say. So anyway, so lastly, our So Married book. I don't know, we got a story, y'all. We got a story to tell. We got a love story. We got all kinds of relationship advice, so we really need to get it. Oh, he also too, he said, the same person who asked about the book, he said he believes that's the key to our financial freedom. So I think he done spoke a word. All right, thank you, baby, for doing this video. Right. And we got more to come. And our next video is gonna be that making love without taking off your clothes.
I'm not saying that. She's saying that. Okay.
That's all right. That's all. That's all I need to say it. Love y'all. Y'all be blessed.
Amen.
Hi y'all. We forgot. We're on our way to the beach now, so we've changed clothes. But I forgot to answer a question. I overlooked a question that was asked. And this is the question: do you and your husband remain friends with any exes? I asked this because I want to know if, when you forgive your ex, who has done you wrong, is it okay to move on and never speak to them again? So, are you in contact with any of your exes?
No.
That what he say. He in contact with his baby mama. That's his ex.
That's not an ex.
That's an ex. Wait,
Baby
she better
mama.
be an ex.
It's a baby mama.
She better be an ex.
She's still in contact with her baby daddy.
The baby is 22 years old. Why does she need to stay in contact with her baby daddy? Anyways.
No, it's best to let that go ahead and go because got familiar spirits. You know, she know what you like and what you dislike, and why subject yourself to that right there. We done moved on in life. Time to move on. Cut off that baggage.
You can still forgive him, right? And
Yeah,
still,
you forgive them, but you're cutting off that baggage.
Yeah. When we first got married, maybe that first year, I was still in contact with my exes. They weren't my ex-boyfriend.
Yeah. She had plenty of them.
They weren't my ex-boyfriends, just ex-friends.
Call them whatever you want to call them. They were your exes.
And I didn't call them. They would call or text me every now and then, not all the time. Like I would say maybe once every other month. In a whole year, I would say a couple of friends of mine would contact me 3-4 times a year, something like that. My husband claimed that they were calling to check in and see how the marriage was going.
I still was calling.
See if they had any room to get back in there. One thing for sure, I always conducted myself, in a manner that I know is pleasing to God.
Go from here.
Maybe you can find one of them public access places. But I always conducted myself that was pleasing to God. But but it's best to not when you're in a present relationship or a present marriage, it's best not to stay in contact with exes unless they are your children's parents. I do believe that you should keep a line of communication open with your children's parents, why I don't mind that he talks to his baby's mama every now and then, even though the baby 22 years old. But I don't try to cut that out.
I ain't talking to her. She called me.
Yeah, well, I know I don't cut that out about her calling because if I wanted to,
I cut it out.
She would not She would not be calling him, right? But I think it's still important. I don't care how old your kids is, 50 years old, whatever. It's still important to have some type of line of communication with your baby's, with your child's other parent. So I don't know if we answered your question. Yes, you can forgive them. You can completely cut them out, and I don't think that's displeasing to God to completely cut it out and move on and concentrate on your present relationship. And most of all, your mate has to feel comfortable. If I was talking to anybody he felt uncomfortable with, or he was talking to anybody I felt uncomfortable with, then you must cut that out. And don't ever let your good be evil spoken of. Don't get caught up in the flesh and being confident in the flesh and think, oh, I'm over him, I'm over her, I'll never do this or that. Like you said, those familiar spirits, you play around with those familiar spirits, you're going to get caught up.